What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Tier 2 Talk for our very first episode in a long while. I'm Keane McKenna, and it's a pleasure to be back with you here today. And yes, it has been a bit of a while. I think the last episode we did was the start of June. The World Cup, kind of took priority over the last month and a half. Was planning on doing an end of June episode, but just with all the World Cup fever, getting wrapped up in that and watching all the football, it was hard to get time to sit down and talk about NPL football. But now that the World Cup ended on the Monday just gone, we can get back into things. So I'm happy to be back doing Tier 2 Talk, and it's an exciting time in the NPLs as the race to championship really heats up, where some leagues have 2 games remaining, some leagues, I think, max have 6 games left. So the teams that are going to be participating in the 2026 Oz Championship is getting closer and closer to being revealed. So that is very exciting, and it's always good to see how those races unfold, and especially with some of the races that we're going to talk about a bit later in the episode. They are very tight. So hope you all have been well. Hope you enjoyed the World Cup. Socceroos, I thought, did okay. Got a pass mark. Got out of the group. Big win against Turkey. Disappointing result against America. Paraguay did what we needed to do. And then Egypt, when it comes down to penalty, it's always 50-50. Would like to progress, but, at the end of the day, round of 32 again. I think it's, a good job by Tony Popovic and the side. But it's, building on that, and especially with the Asian Cup in January, I think there needs to be a high expectation going into that tournament. But yes, I think decent overall. I can't really complain about the Socceroos' performance. They got the win, got goals, so we take it and we move on now. But that's my little piece about the World Cup. We now look ahead to what we have in store for this episode. We will break down what all 8 foundation clubs have been doing over the last month and a half, where they're sitting, how they're looking heading into the home stretch of their seasons. We talk about the race to the championship, our well-loved segment that we introduced last year. We will talk about this year. It's a fortnightly thing, so we will bring that up. Podcast will bring it up every week, but on Instagram and stuff like that, it will be posted every fortnight. The Australia Cup round 32 has already delivered some fantastic results, and we'll definitely talk about that one. And then for our special guest interview, we're joined by the former South Melbourne, now Preston midfielder, Nahuel Bonada. He joins us to talk about life at Preston since his move from Lakeside up to Jan Steele Stadium, what it's been like at Preston, the immediate impact he's trying to have on the side, and Preston's great run of form as well. So really good episode. It's a really good interview as well. So I'm looking very forward to letting you guys hear that. Just the remainder of the episode. Like always, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you follow or subscribe on there so you don't miss an episode. And if you want to check out our Instagram, we're going to be ramping up production on the Instagram with posts with when teams qualify for the Australia Championship, coverage of the Oz Cup that foundation clubs are being a part of. So there is a lot going on at Tier 2 Talk. It's a very busy time of year leading into the end of the NPLs and final series. So make sure you stay tuned, because we are going to help cover it all. And any news that you guys need to know about, we will inform you here. So in saying that, we will start with our catch-up of all 8 foundation clubs. Starting with the Preston Lions, they're 6 games undefeated in the league, including big wins over Hume City and a dramatic win over Avondale, scoring 2 goals in 90-minute stoppage time to win 3-2 at Avenger Park. They played in the Australia Cup last night and knocked off current holders Newcastle Jets. We'll talk more about that in our Oz Cup segment, but a fantastic win there for the Lions and the first true cup set of 2026. In the league, they're sitting in 4th position with 33 points, 3 points clear of Melbourne City in 7th. Plus, they have qualified for the Doctor Cup final on the 8th of August against Heidelberg United. So Preston are in a good run of form, and especially adding a player of Bonada's caliber definitely increases that squad's potential. Avondale have been on a slide in the last few weeks with 3 losses and a draw in their last 4 games. They've dropped out of the title race with Oakley now 12 points clear, so they will relinquish their NPL Victoria Premiership that they won last year, but they remain 5 points clear of Melbourne City sitting in 3rd. And finally, South Melbourne have been up and down recently. They're trying to rediscover their form with 3 wins in their last 5, most recently a 0-0 draw against Preston in the Big Show 2.0. They have stabilised themselves since returning to a sole NPL Victoria schedule and sit in 6th, just 2 points above Melbourne City, who they still have to play later this season. Moving to New South Wales, Sydney United have helped their push for a premiership title with a huge 1-0 win in the traditional derby against Marconi just Sunday gone. They moved back within 4 points of Marconi with 3 wins out of their last 5 to stop the slide they were on. Marconi, they remain top of the league, hoping to win their first ever NPL New South Wales Premiership, though the defeat to Sydney United did deliver a heavy blow to that hope, bringing both Apia and Sydney United back into the title race. The loss to United was only their 3rd of the season, though they do benefit of not participating in the Australia Cup round of 32, unlike Apia and Sydney United, so they can have a sole focus on the league, unlike their title competitors. Sydney Olympic continue their fight for safety. They remain in last place. Those 2 wins in their last 5 have pushed them to the same amount of points as St. George FC in 15th. To avoid the promotion relegation playoff spot, they need another 6 points as St. George City sit in 14th. They do really have a tough schedule, Olympic. They still have to play Marconi United and Apia all in their final 6 games. So the likelihood of them picking up points there is very slim, based off, forms of both sides. So there's very few games that I see that Olympic, you circle as, wins. So you're looking at those Marconi, Sydney United and Apia games as kind of need to turn one of those games into a massive result and kind of shock one of those teams, because if you don't, the amount of opportunity to pick up maximum points is limited for Olympic, and they have been doing well and they have been pushing to get out of the relegation zone, but it might be too little too late. But, we'll never say never, and hopefully Olympic can stay up in the top flight. The Wollongong Wolves have slid massively in recent weeks, dropping completely out of the top 6, going 8 games without a win, hindering their chance of playing finals. They're 3 points behind Sydney FC in the race for finals and will seriously need to turn some results their way if they want to make a finals berth. And finally, Apia are right back in the thick of a title race, just 1 point behind Marconi. They suffered back-to-back defeats to start July, though recovered with a win in the weekend just gone. It'll be a very tight and contested fight for the 2026 Premiership, with Marconi, Apia and Sydney United all competing for state glory ahead of the Australia Championship. So that's a quick wrap-up of what the 8 foundation clubs have been going through. They're all sitting in fairly good positions outside of Olympic, obviously, to possibly play finals. And then even in New South Wales, one of those 3 teams are surely to win the premiership, with 4th, 5th and 6th well behind them in the fight for silverware. Now, we turn our attention to what the other NPL competitions have been doing. We will look at all 8 NPL competitions and in the race for the championship. So starting off in NPL Queensland, even just from the post I did last week, there's been a change in the title race. Lions FC now hold top spot in NPL Queensland, a point above Peninsula Power, who dropped points over the weekend. Peninsula have had 2 draws in their last 2 weeks, whilst Lions have won their last 2 games and have propelled themselves above Peninsula Power. In NPL Western Australia, Perth Red Stars still hold top spot in that competition, though they face some fierce competition in the likes of Bayswater City and Olympic Kingsway. Perth Red Star did lose on the weekend, which means Olympic Kingsway and Bayswater moved up and closer to Red Star. Olympic Kingsway are just a point behind with the same amount of games. Meanwhile, Bayswater, who's currently in third, are on 34 points with a game in hand. So if they win that game, Bayswater will actually jump Red Star with a better goal difference. So all to play for in Western Australia. And again, another key fixture that is still on the cards. If I check my notes here, Olympic Kingsway and Bayswater still have to play each other. It's not this weekend, but it's the next weekend, in where Olympic Kingsway host Bayswater, which could knock out one of those two sides or give a massive advantage to Red Star if that game ends in a draw. In the nation's capital, Canberra, Croatia are looking like they will return to the Australia Championship, as they currently lead that competition with only 4 games remaining. They sit 4 points clear of Monaro Panthers, though the Panthers do have a game in hand, which would move them back within 1 point of Croatia. The two sides are set to face each other in the second last match day of the season, and that one will be a big circle fixture, because that one will obviously decide who will play in the championship in from that competition. In NPL Tasmania, they're the competition that finished the soonest, with only 2 games remaining in that competition. South Hobart are 4 points clear of Kingsborough Lions, though Devonport City have a game in hand, sitting down in third. If Devonport do win that game, they go behind South Hobart by 4 points. So still South Hobart destiny is in their hands. Devonport do play this weekend against Launceston United to see if they can catch up. South Hobart's next game is on the 1st of August against Launceston City. So that one will be a huge decider in the race for the premiership down in Tasmania, but all signs point to a return to the Oz Championship for South Hobart. NPL South Australia is probably the tightest NPL competition that remains. It is a 3-horse race in that state, with West Torrens, Metro Stars and Adelaide City all within 2 points of each other going into the final 4 games of the season. Some big fixtures is West Torrens do play Adelaide City this coming weekend, which is shaping up, to be a huge blockbuster game. West Torrens have led the league for most of the season, whilst Metro Stars and Adelaide City have joined the party late, but they have joined it in a big way and are hoping to win the premiership. With 4 games remaining, it is anyone's game to play for in South Australia. In NPL New South Wales, it has really shaped up into a very tight, close to club race, with Sutherland Sharks and Rockdale currently sitting both on 36 points. Rockdale were ahead of Sutherland Sharks, however, were docked 3 points by Football New South Wales for fielding an ineligible player against Blacktown City. So losing those 3 points means they're on the same amount of points, though the highlight is this coming weekend on Sunday, the two sides play each other. And if either side is to win that, they will take a huge step into not only securing their finals position, but yes, securing a spot in this year's Oz Championship. Rockdale famously were leading the NPL New South Wales for most of last season, though form at the back end of the season did let them lead astray and drop out of the premiership race and giving the spot to NWS Spirit. Meanwhile, Sutherland Sharks have been on a famous rebuild throughout the 2026 season and could potentially cap off that rebuild with a berth in the Australia Championship. In NPL Northern New South Wales, once again, we look like we are going to have a familiar face in Broadmeadow Magic join the Australia Championship. They're 4 points clear atop of the league with a game in hand. So this coming weekend against Maitland, Broadmeadow Magic could potentially secure their spot, as if they win that game and then win their makeup game that they have to play from last weekend, Western Bears and Maitland could be too far behind to catch. So all signs point to a Magic return to the Australia Championship. And in NPL Victoria, it is almost certain that Oakley Cannons will appear in the Australia Championship and win the NPL Victoria crown. They defeated their biggest rivals, Hume City, 1-0 last weekend to now have a 7-point lead atop of the table. There's still 5 games remaining, and Oakley Cannons do have to play South Melbourne in a Greek derby this coming weekend. So there's still a lot to play for. However, that win last weekend for Oakley sets them up real nicely, with Hume City having to go away to Heidelberg and away to Avondale still in the remainder of the season. So that is our race to the championship segment. There is a lot of action to play for wherever you're listening to around the country, especially with how close some of these races are. It could go down to the final day to decide who plays in the Australia Championship. Some are looking like they're already set up, and you can make some early predictions, but there's some that you just cannot predict what is going to happen with form, with teams, with results. And it's going to be an exciting end to the season in a lot of NPL competitions. Now, we'll cut to our interview with Nahuel Bonada, the hero almost. He didn't score the winning goal, but he started the comeback last night against the Newcastle Jets. 2 goals for Bonada in a famous 3-2 win for his new side, Preston Lions. Now, this interview was recorded on Monday. So we do ask him about the Australia Cup, but we at the time did not know the result of the Australia Cup, so he'll be talking in past tense. But everything he says about Preston, the move from South Melbourne, what it was like playing in the Big Show 2.0, it's really interesting to hear what that is like for him. And then we also talked briefly about the OFC Pro League commitments him and his fellow teammates had to make during South Melbourne's run during that competition. And yeah, the run through to the final for Preston and then a return to the Australia Championship. So I hope you enjoyed that interview. Welcome back, everybody. And we are joined here by a very special guest here on Tier 2 Talk. We featured him briefly with some post-match interviews after South Melbourne's Oz Championship grand final win last month, but he's joining us for a full feature here today, formerly of South Melbourne, now Preston Lions. Welcome, midfielder Nahuel Bonada. Nahuel, thank you for taking the time, and how are you doing today?
Hello, King. Hello to you and the whole community. Thank you for having me. Really good. Really painful day for being Argentinian, but
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yes, especially after the Argentinian loss, I'm glad to have this conversation with you. Now, so to kind of get straight off the bat, probably arguably one of the biggest transfer moves during this winter transfer season was your loan deal from South Melbourne to Preston. Just quickly talk to us how life has been at Preston over the last few weeks and transitioning to your new club.
Well, a pretty crazy last few weeks. Unexpected move for me. I was at home as South, and I was fine, but it is football, and sometimes people don't agree with what you think or how you do the stuff, and things get a little bit off the pitch, a little bit in the way that everyone wants, and had to move from there, leaving all my teammates and supporters and everyone that I like and I love in South Melbourne, to move to Preston. Preston, I can't say that they've been so welcoming. They opened the doors of the club big time. Since day one, since I arrived the first training, they've been amazing and unbelievable, full of support. And they happy to have me there, and I'm happy to be there too.
Yeah. And I mean, you've already hit the ground running with Preston. You know, your team's on a great run of form, 6 league games undefeated now, and you've scored for your new side. Talk to me about, coming into this changing room and, really hitting the ground running with a team that's, on good amount of form.
Yeah, firstly, the president, the coaching staff from the starters, they believe in me straight away. So that's as a football player, you always want that people supporting you, and believing in you. And yeah, that was what happened from day one in Preston. And then walking into the changing room, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I found a great changing room, full of great players and good people as well. As I said before, they've been really welcoming from the start. Um, Literally, I walked to the club first, second as a Preston player, and like I had the captain and the coach introducing me to everyone, and like, to be fair, was really good. I think the club and also the form that the team has at the minute is what they deserve. There are a bunch of great players there, leading by a great coach, and of course the committee as well. And yeah, I got lucky to score in the first game, assist and the second one to get us to get the team to the Donkey Cup final. So been a really exciting start.
When the proposal of moving to Preston and coming into this changing room, what were you hoping to achieve personally, coming to Preston and, looking to add to this side coming in? What were you hoping for?
Well, I'm still hoping to be a great addition for the team. Try to bring goals, assist, and energy. Is the type of player that I am. Give them maybe a boost when you have new players. Always the teams they race, and just trying to be myself, trying to enjoy my football, and yeah, of course, if I can help um, to improve what they've been doing great, yeah, of course, I will try to work hard to help and do as much as I can for the team.
One thing that I highlight, and like you already mentioned previously, is the Doherty Cup run that Preston is on. It's the first time the Lions are in the Cup final, or looking to win the Cup final, since 1992. You were able to win the Cup final multiple times at South Melbourne. You come up against Heidelberg on August 8th. What would it mean to, help this club bring silverware back to Genesee Stadium and, really make an impactful move so quickly into your spell?
Yeah, well, firstly, like for all those supporters, if you watch Preston games, supporters are really like passionate, and they're always there. So I guess firstly would mean a lot to those people that support the club, and they've been there for many years. I just been there for 2 weeks, but I can see how much passion and love people have for the club. And I guess helping to get a silverware, as you mentioned, that they haven't been in that position since long time ago. Um, will be great achievement. Great achievement for the club, for the group. I guess the group deserves it as well. And for me, yeah, I've been lucky enough to win in 2025, 2024 as well, and hopefully 2026. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Now, speaking of games that Preston have been involved in, we have to talk about the big show that happened over the weekend. at Lakeside Stadium. 0-0 draw, but a very entertaining 0-0 draw. No goals to claim, but sure, a lot of tension on the field, especially for yourself, being a part of it now on the Preston side of things. What was that experience like for you, lining up against your fellow teammates and being at Lakeside as the visitor?
Yeah, yeah, it was a interesting experience. Of course, like 2 weeks earlier, I was sharing the change room with all those guys, and which they my teammates, and I got relationship with them, so friendships and a lot of love and appreciation for them. Um, yeah, it was weird. Also with the supporters, I've been receiving a lot of love since I left the club from the supporters as well, and going there and play against them or being in the opposition side was felt a little bit weird and different. But in saying that, now I represent Preston and I'm fully committed to Preston. And I try to do my best. I try to do my best and give my best as I always try. But yeah, was a special game.
It definitely, yeah. When I saw that fixture and your transfer move, and yeah, I was like, oh, that's going to be very interesting. Now, just quickly, if we can, I'd love to talk about the OFC Pro League that you're a part of with South Melbourne. When we started Tier 2 Talk Up for this second year, South Melbourne were doing double duties in the Pro League and NPL Victoria back off the Oz Championship victory. What was that experience like for you as a player? Like, getting to travel to different countries, get to play in this new competition and, play so frequently a lot of football. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I think it's a great experience. Having the chance to be part of it was really good. Probably there were a lot of things that couldn't been done better in terms of logistic locations and stuff like that. But then in the football side of it, it's a great opportunity. It's probably I visit countries that I don't even know if I'm gonna go again. So I I really enjoyed that part of being in different countries, meeting different people, new cultures, and also like sharing with your teammates. You get really close. You build that family because you were like 24/7 for 10 days, 24/7 with your teammates. So it was overall a really great experience. We got really close as well. We were really close to win it, um, and bring it home.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it was a very interesting, tournament to be a part of, and yeah, one that hopefully will keep growing. One thing, two more questions for you. With, this podcast will come out on Wednesday for our listeners, but you guys are playing at home tomorrow night in the Australian Cup round of 32 against last year's win, Newcastle Jets. Result would be known by the time this interview comes out, but I'd love just to know, what you're feeling, what the squad is feeling, the club is feeling as a whole to, welcome last year's Cup winners down to Geneseo Stadiums and what you guys aim to do tomorrow night and in the Cup.
Yeah, of course, playing against Newcastle from the start is being part of the Australian Cup is a great thing. And then receiving on the current champions or the current holders of the trophy is a big thing as well. The club is really excited. People, supporters, everyone is really excited around the club. I expect, oh, we all expect that it's gonna be a good turnout of people on a Tuesday night, and we're gonna try to do our best, and try to make the first upset of the Australian Cup this year, and will be great against the current champions.
Yeah, exactly. We all love a cup set, and yeah, I think when everyone saw that fixture be drawn out, I think it was one that was very circled quickly by a lot of just not only Preston and Newcastle fans, but also neutral fans of the game.
Yeah, well, would be big if you like football and you like good games and you're passionate about football. I think it's a picture that you wanna be part of.
Yeah, definitely. And just finally, I know there's still lots of football to be played in both the NPL. Victoria, Preston are looking strong to make a finals appearance this year. But I'd love to just touch on the Australia Championship. We're less than 3 months away from the start, with the announced date being released last week for October 16th. You got to experience everything that encapsulated with the Australia Championship last season with South Melbourne. What's your hopes, and if you look towards the future for the Oz Championship, what are you most excited for about year number 2 and being a part of it?
Yeah. Well, firstly, the Australian Championship, the first year I think was a success in terms of a tournament itself. Being part of that and winning it was amazing and incredible. And now coming to this new year with now with a new club as well, I think it's really exciting because I see potential in Preston that we can go all the way. So it's a tournament that we already, even though that we focus on the NPL and the cup and all the games that we have in front of us, it's a tournament that we looking at on the side of the eyes, and it's really exciting that now we know the dates. It's getting closer and closer.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Nanuel, thank you very much for your time today to talk about all things Preston, South Melbourne, and your transfer situation. And I wish you all the best for the cup game tomorrow night against Newcastle, and then also the rest of the NPL season and the Doherty Cup final against Heidelberg.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the work that you do for this Australian Championship and all the MPL leagues. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and all the best for you as well.
The Australia Cup Round 32 has already delivered some massive results for the Australia Championship Foundation clubs. Abigail Leichhardt kicked off the Round of 32 last week with a 2-1 win over Peninsula Power to advance to the round of 16 for the 4th time in their history. Famously, Preston Lions defeated the reigning cup holders Newcastle Jets 3-2 in a dramatic comeback, with Bonada scoring 2 before a 93rd minute sent Geneseo Stadium into raptures. It's a fantastic result for the Lions, who are making their Australia Cup debut and are heading into the pot for the round of 16. Tonight, Sydney United 58 will be hoping to also create a cup set versus A-League side Central Coast Mariners at 7:30 at Sydney United Sports Centre. And then both Sydney Olympic and South Melbourne are in action next Thursday, with South Melbourne taking on Adelaide United in a National Soccer League rematch between two old rivals and two sides that are looking forward to meeting once again on a national stage. And then Olympic take on Brisbane Roar, hoping to advance to the round of 16 for the first time since 2015. To wrap up our episode, we go into the top 5 fixtures that are happening around the country this coming weekend, starting off in Manly, with Manly taking on Sydney Olympic this Friday at 7:30. The reason this is such an important fixture, as this is one of the games you look at Sydney Olympic that need to pick up 3 points. With having to play Marconi, Abbey and Sydney United, as I already mentioned, it is vitally important that when Olympic are playing sides, other than those 3, it is crucial that they pick up results where they can. So this is a big game for Sydney Olympic in their fight for survival. Also on Friday night, you have a huge Greek derby between Oakley Cannons and South Melbourne at 8:15 at the home of Oakley. Oakley looking to further stamp their authority over the NPL Victoria and pick up points against South Melbourne and increase their league at the top of the league. Meanwhile, South Melbourne will be hoping to help their chances of playing finals football by picking up some vital points over the league leaders. Saturday at 3 p.m, it is heading to MPL South Australia for a huge game between third place Adelaide City and current league leaders West Torrens, though the sides are only separated by 2 points. So if Adelaide City do pick up all 3 points, then they will jump Torrens in the league. I'm sure Metro Stars are watching this game very closely, as the results could definitely sway where they finish up on the end of the league table. But this is a huge fixture in the race for the premiership in South Australia. At 4:30 on Saturday, you have Maitland taking on Broadmeadow Magic, and Broadmeadow could really almost secure their qualification in the Australia Championship with a win here. The game in hand they still have to play kind of throws in works about when they could qualify, but a win here would keep the distance between them and the Western Bears at 4 points. It will extend their lead over Maitland to 10 points. So it might be well and dusted for Magic. They might need the Bears to drop points as well. I think if the Bears drop points and Broadmeadow win, then it could be all over with that game in hand, but I will double check the math around that. And if you're following on the Instagram, then you will see if there's a post about whether they have qualified or not. And then finally, the last game that is oh so important this coming weekend is in MPL New South Wales, and it's Rockdale versus Sutherland Sharks at Sunday, 3 p.m. at Rockdale Illidan Sports Centre. Both teams tied on 36 points, as already mentioned, and the winner could take a big step into finishing the highest on the league table and thus securing qualification to the Australia Championship. That will wrap up our episode for this week. We are hoping to return to an almost full-time schedule and publishing an episode every week, though it might be just a bit tricky in the early going, so I will try my best to do an episode next week. If not, you will see me in the first week of August. Next week is just quite busy with the end of the university term, but after that it will go on to holidays, so it'll be a lot more time to dedicate to doing a podcast. Thank you again to Nahuel Bonada for joining us and providing some insight into his change in his life from Preston and leaving South Melbourne behind. We'll continue to have guest interviews on the podcast. That's one thing I strive to have every time we do an episode, and especially with teams qualifying for the Australia Championship in the coming weeks. We will hopefully have teams that have qualified joining the show and talking about their league campaign, their season, and the prospect of playing in the Australia Championship. Oh, and also, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but we found out the start date of the Australia Championship of October 16th. It was announced in the Football Australia release of the domestic calendar. Now, this is still subject to change. However, the Australia Championship will be returning on the 16th of October for now, and the final of the Australia Championship is set to be the weekend of the 12th and 13th of December. So a very exciting time. We finally have a start date, and hopefully now that the World Cup is over, we can potentially get some news surrounding the Australia Championship, what the groups look like, and how it's going to shape up for the 2026 edition. Like again, if you've liked this episode, please consider following on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and Twitter. That's where you can find the latest updates from us, especially the Instagram and Twitter. We'll be at the Sydney United versus Central Coast Mariners game tonight, so you can check out our coverage from that one. But yes, until next time you hear from me, I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy the football, enjoy the race to the championship wherever you are listening from. Every state has something to play for, and it's a very exciting time to be a fan of state league football in Australia. Thank you all for listening. I've been Keane McKenna. Bye, everybody.